Hey guys, your boy here. Welcome back to Pantrio. In the last video, we got Nuxt up and running. In this video, we're gonna play with vue.js a little bit, and it'll be a good time. And at the very end, I think I'll also just add some stuff to Ansible to make sure that when we spin up our machine, it also installs everything for Nuxt npm. So we want to do some stuff with Vue. This Vue single file component here, it's a template. We're not actually doing any templating here, we're just outputting some static HTML. So let's template up in this mofo. How does it go? Well, typically if you're gonna template, you need some data with which to do the substitutions. So in Vue, to specify the data of the components, there you put a function in here called data, and it should return an object, not an array. Return an object, and that has all of your variables in it. So we'll just do, I don't know, thing, and we'll give its value is of course 69. And hello freak bitches, and then we want a template. What do you think is going to be in here? Of course, mustache. You template with your mustache and thing. Okay, so we should see a 69 pop up in here. We're going to save this. We go here, we can see it actually reloaded automatically, and here's our 69. So the basics of templating is you use your mustaches, you put your data in here, but there's a lot more to it, obviously. Like we saw in Blade, you can have loops, you can have if, you can have all sorts of mother trucking stuff. So, what do we want to do? Well, first of all, let's lose the default style. Let's get some style up in this mofo. Normally, if I want to get style into my front end, I would use npm to download a package of some Sass, and I would compile that and put that in there. But we're not going to do that right now because it's a little pain in the buddy, and I just want to play around. So in Nuxt config, CSS is a thing, but also in head, we can just add links to some kind of CDN, content delivery network, that has some style that we want. And let's use Bulma. So Bulma CDN, getting started with Bulma. We can put our link in here. Relationship rel style sheet href. We need an hrefy. CSS import RTL right to left. No, we don't want that. So we probably want this, and we want to put that here, and that should be it. We should now have Bulma. Now let's see if I remember how to use Bulma. Why did I choose Bulma? I should have chosen Bootstrap, but I'm tired of Bootstrap. Section. I think Bulma likes to put its stuff inside of sections. All right, let's do a table here. So table.table, and I guess it's going to have table header plus table body. Yeah. No, like that? Okay. And the table header is going to have th times 2. Why doesn't it indent those for me? Why do you got to be so dumb, Emmett? And in here, we're going to have tr and td times 2. Yeah, okay. Something like this. So, foo bar, and in here we have values. Hello 420. Okay, so let's just make sure that this works. Go back into here and foo bar hello 420. Well, it works, but I'm not getting my style in here. I'm not getting my style on, if you know what I mean. So you can definitely see here, I've got my title in here. So it's getting the metadata from the config, but it's not getting the links. I believe we might be able to fix this problem by getting out of here and rebuilding into it. So source, the automatic detection of changes to your source, it works for a lot of your source files, but not for the config. For the config, you have to reload it again manually. That's just the way it is. Now, in this case, let's see if we got some fancy style now. Okay, so now we got fancy style. This one probably would look better if I styled it as h1 class equal to title and go back into here. Yeah, okay. So there you go. That is how Bulma works. And now we have beautiful Bulma tables. I believe margins in Bulma are the same as in Bootstrap. Go M4. Let's try it. Yeah, so now we got a little bit of margin on here. That's looking good. Okay, so fair enough. We've got our table. Well, beautiful. Who cares, right? It's just HTML. Well, here's where things start to get interesting. So let's create T data as an array, and in this array we can have foo is, you know what? No, don't do this. Hello and bar 420, and let's have another. Let's just get some more data in here. All right, so we got our data here, and now here's the beautiful part. We are going to dynamically generate. Where is it? V4. So we're going to dynamically generate rows of the table based on whatever data is in here. So V4, and here, how does this work again? I believe it is for data in T data, and then in here we're going to do data.foo, and in here data.bar. All right. Let's see if my syntax was correct. This is not where I want to be at. And here we go. So now we have our table. It has this table being the rows are being generated dynamically from the data. Now, you might say, well, who gives a shit? I mean, you could just copy and paste, just like you copy and paste the data here. You could do that directly in this HTML, skip the middleman. Well, but what if we want that stuff to change dynamically based on what the user is doing, or dynamically based on communication with a server? Well, we can do that. So we go, let me see here. How do I do forms in Bulma? All right, so apparently this is a Bulma way of doing forms. Got a couple of inputs here, got a couple of buttons. So how do we get this input from here into the data of our component here, and which would then automatically be reflected into here? Well, I think the easiest way to do this is to basically bind these inputs to some variables. So let's do foo input, and initially it'll be empty, and bar input similarly empty, and we want to bind. We do v model equal to foo input, and v model equal to bar input. So by binding these means if we programmatically change either of these, the value displayed in the input will automatically change. And if we edit the value in the input, this will automatically change. They're two-way binding between them, basically. Very useful, very nice. And then in here, what we want to do is when we click on these buttons, we want an action. So on the click event, we would like to do add row. And on the click event here, we would like to do remove row. Okay, so where does those go? Well, let me see if I can get if I remember. I believe it is methods. See, I usually do this stuff in TypeScript, and it's different. It's a different way of doing things. It's a sexier way of doing things, in my opinion. But for right now, we'll just go with the standard vanilla JavaScript. So I believe you have a field here called methods, and inside of here, you can define functions. So add row, what add row should do is it should do this dot, and the data is going to be t data dot push, and we're going to push in a new object. Foo is going to be this dot foo input, and bar is going to be this dot bar input. There you go. Why are you pissed off at me? Argument is not assignable to parameter type. Number string. I mean, you got a point. You do not have a point. However, this is JavaScript. Man, you know what? Parse int this. Are you happy now? So this is whatchamacallit, PHP Storm basically checking this stuff as if it were TypeScript, even though it isn't TypeScript. It's doing those kind of checks for you, which is okay, but not that important. Add row and remove row. We can just do this dot t data dot pop. There you go. So now we have the actions defined for these buttons. These are bound to this variables here, and these variables are used inside of this action. Let's see if it does what I hope it'll do. Okay, so it's a very wide boy. You cannot deny the boy is wide. What if I click remove? We just lost a row on this cell. What if we add something here? Some stuff in here. Add, dynamically adding more things to our table. And this kind of functionality, you see how easy it was here to make this functionality. To do this kind of stuff without Vue, and I've done it before, to do it with like jQuery or just, manipulating the document object model directly. It can be such a huge pain in the butt, especially when you got to keep track of state between your data and the actual DOM. But with Vue, your DOM follows the data. So as the data changes, the view on the data reactively matches it. And it's a beautiful thing to have. When you're making like a single page application, something very interactive, this is how you want to live your life. And there are other things. There are lots of really neat and useful features in Vue. For example, we have computed. So this allows us to create a kind of read-only piece of data that is usually it's computed from other data. And it also caches these results, so it's very efficient. So for example, let's say I wanted to have one called the total. And we would do that like this. So what is the total going to be? Well, all right, and we could do it like this. I guess we do return t this dot t data dot reduce, and I believe we take in the carry, and we take in the object, and we should return what? We should return carry plus object dot bar. And then here we could do, at the bottom of the table here, do a div, and we could do total is total. That's not how you spell that. There you go. So that should give us the total, right? Where's my, no, 6942. That's wrong. Object. Okay, well, so much JavaScript ain't too great. Let me see here. T data reduce carry object is equal to object carry plus object dot bar. All right, so what is reduce? We have to start it off with something, right? So what if we start off with 0? How's that? Try it again. All right, that makes more sense, right? Okay, good. All right, let me show you one more thing before we move on here. And this is more specific to Nuxt than it is to Vue. But the way you specify your routes and stuff in Nuxt is you actually specify it based on this, the folder structure in your source file here. So in your pages, the structure inside of this folder will dictate the routes in your application. So for example, let's add another one in here. We'll do a new directory and we'll call it butts, of course. And we'll create an index.vue inside of butts. And this index.vue, let's just, keep it simple. Here's butts. And we'll get rid of this stuff, doesn't matter. So we've got a folder here, butts, and then an index in here. And if we go /butts, might require this, which is kind of annoying. Like if you add a new page, you might have to do a rebuild like this. But yeah, I could be wrong. There might be a way of it to pick it up automatically. But if there isn't, well, here you have it. So here's the butts. Fair enough. Class equals title. Now, another thing you can do here is, in Laravel, when we made our root, you saw that part of the root can become a parameter for the controller. And you can do the same thing let me just do this in Nuxt. So you name the page or the folder starting with an underscore. And we're just going to name this one varvar. And what that does... Oh, there it is. Okay, good. So what that does is now inside of this controller, there should be available somehow, I forget how, but there will be available varvar as a parameter. And then if we go to /butts/whatever, that whatever will become the varvar parameter in our thing. So let's, I don't know why I got rid of that one, but yeah. So I don't remember how to do it. So this would be a good learning experience. Nuxt route params. File system routing. We got links, basic routes, file tree. This is what I've shown you. Dynamic routes. So here's with the underscore. Automatically generate. Locally accessing route params. This route.params.parameter name. Okay. So if I am not mistaken, should be able to do this. And this should be varvar. And maybe it'll work. Let's see. So we go into here. Butts. Suck. Didn't work. All right. Let me try this again, because I changed the name of the file. It's not so good. It's good at detecting changes inside of files. It's not so good, apparently, at detecting new files. Which is, makes me a little sad, but... There you go. So here's this parameter been passed into here. Let me show you one last thing, how you link between these pages. It is not particularly complicated. You just use Nuxt link. And what this is going to do, one of the hallmarks of a single page application is that once you've loaded the application, you don't hit the server when you switch to a different page here. See, it was immediate. It was automatic. There was no wait. There was no load because it all happens inside of the browser here. When I type in a new URL into here, it's going to hit the server. So you saw some loading happening here. But once you've loaded the application, clicking links inside of it is just switching to a different page in the same JavaScript application. So it doesn't have to hit the server. Now, the last thing I threatened here was getting our npm stuff working with Ansible so that, when we run Vagrant up, it will automatically get the project already, all the stuff installed. And this command here will do it from community.general.npm. We'll probably also want to run a build command, npm run build, eventually, but not right now, because right now all we're doing is we're doing npm run dev, and we're running the dev server for Nuxt. But if we run build, in order to access it, the final built version, we'll have to set up Nginx to look into that folder and serve the Vue application instead of just routing everything to Laravel. So we'll do that later on, when it becomes necessary. But this is nice to have in there right now. You always want it to install all the required packages. All right, so I got the Ansible working. There was a little bit of a change of plan here. Number one, I decided to add in Laravel the artisan migrate as well to get the database in there, because we have those test pages, and it might as well get them up and running when we spin up this machine. So we do the Laravel migrate. We install the npm packages. I got it to work, but the first time I had an error, and I don't have any proof, but I suspect that the culprit in the error is, where's my Vagrant file here? So I suspect the culprit was the cache plugin. So I decided, you know what? I'm just going to yeet the cache plugin. So I just destroyed it from here. I removed a line that was around here somewhere, and I spun it up again, and it works fine. All the things are okay. Everything is good. And if we go here, we can go pantrio/users, and we have users. Notice that these are now different users than the ones we had before because we migrated, we seeded, we got different random data seeded into the database. And if we try to access our SPA, of course it won't work because we haven't started the dev server. So if we go vagrant SSH, and I still haven't created that symlink in Ansible, but if we go cd var www html pantrio, and we go npm run dev, so it is starting the Nuxt, and yes, sure. And we should build fine, and we should get our pages. Server is listening. Let's go to the root. Here it is. Let's go to, what was it? Butts. Hey, hello. And there it is. Here's our link. Okay. So everything's working. Ansible now. We run Vagrant up and everything gets built and it's ready to roll. Just like we like it. So we're just going to have to commit the changes to Ansible and the Vagrant file here that, let's see here, Ansible install npm packages, like that. We'll push that to the origin, and I believe in here, well, it's not letting me switch. Sucks. All right, in here there was like some small change to PM lock. Sure. Okay. So there we go. In the next video, like I said, I think we are going to get TypeScript up and running, and we see how vue.js stuff looks when we're using it with TypeScript. Until then, thanks for watching, yada, 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 and I will see you later with some more Pantrio.